Good wishes of the day to external jurors, faculty members, and dear colleagues. Myself, Kumar Kapadia, student of GCPI VNSGU Surat, will be presenting on my dissertation topic entitled Urban Planning Interventions in Coastal Regions of Surat, pursued under the guidance of Dr. Aditya Contractor and Program Coordinator Professor Anand Kapadia. So I'll commence with the crux of entire dissertation in the form of abstract, which says that the studies investigate the factors responsible and thereby which impose development of urban fringe areas located on cities' coastline. Research for the reasons for the research includes Dumas seafront and Tapi riverfront of Surat city has been envisioned for developing ecotourism and recreational activities by Surat Municipal Corporation. Hazira India Industrial Zone Development, Roro Ferry Terminals, Delhi Mumbai Dedicated Rail Freight Corridor, and other future coastal projects have led me to focus on the need of develop the coastal belt. In order to support the overall development, aim of this study is to propose a multipurpose land use model which can be used for tourism and recreational purposes. The presentation will be delivered in two halves, namely the first half talking about initiation of the research followed by theoretical framework and literature review, and preference will be given to the second half, which includes a detailed methodology, data collection, analysis, inferences, findings, and proposals. So the aim is to protect, preserve, and develop the coastal regions of Surat and its surrounding. The objectives are to understand the land use management mechanism and planning rules and regulations, to identify current status and related attributes of delineated site on coastline, zoning clusters of domestic tourism, leisure, and recreational spaces, propose strategies to meet the impact due to congestion, soil erosion, silting, and floods in and around the area. The theoretical framework and literature review is divided into four parts, namely the baseline concepts of waterfront development and planning, lawful guidelines and regulations related to the same, hypothetical interpretation, and physical implementation. This section reviews a review of several publicly available theoretical sources such as published books, reports, journal articles, and websites relevant to the study, which says that the waterfronts are fundamentally public spaces. Therefore, waterfront development and planning uses architecture and urban design as interrelated and interconnected aspects should consider the following environmental and sustainability principles, namely mixed-use development, place-making urban space, community culture, and water. Now, the CRZ norms in India. The Ministry of Environment and Forest introduced the environmental guidelines for beaches in 1983, the Coastal Regulation Zone Notification 1991, which regulates the range of activities along the coastal stretches on the landward sides, measuring a width of 500 meters from the high tide line. The area under the jurisdiction of the notification is called the Coastal Regulation Zone. This section includes the tasks of several published theses, case studies, research papers, and analysis of physically executed projects relevant to the study. Each of this case has inference derived, which will be discussed in the end in the form of summary. An analysis of various coastal issues in Kerala, which says that it had high density of population, land lost due to coastal erosions, mining of beach for industrial purposes, destruction and reclamation of wastelands, and thereby strategies for coastal development and planning in Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. The primary purpose of this research thesis aims to discuss the potential integrated planning development approaches, management, and sustainable development of waterfront. A framework of ecologically manageable waterfront planning was identified and various holistic strategies were proposed for the waterfront development and planning in the study area. Next is the Integrated Coastal Zone Management for Tuticorin Coast, Tamil Nadu, India, wherein the research thesis for sustainable development uses physical attributes and socio-economic data by delineating land mapping units and analyzing their physical attributes. Proposed holistic strategies says that a total of 27 ecosystems were brought under 4 different management zones by integrating their rainfall, geology, soil, and land use. Then is the land use planning for sustainable development of coastal region in Greece. The present research papers revolve around the beachfront zone of Greece and its weakness because of the absence of special planning, and the interventions there and the inferences derived says that the human intervention should be prohibited in any case. Foreshore beach nourishment should be implemented, planting trees and natural vegetation, providing a physical barrier against wind and coastal erosion, and free public access to coastal zone should be done by stacking by development of variety of other uses such as bicycle, pedestrian, playgrounds, and stacking areas. The Sabarmati Riverfront Development Environmental Urban Rejuvenation Project. The present case study is the city level intervention and is conceived and been implemented as a pioneering multi-benefit project with significant urban transformation potential. And the conclusion and the inferences derived are that the project utilized the resources of river itself to convert the abundant river land of riverbed into people's attraction and tourist destination. The riverfront development along River Ganga in Patna. The present case study is a public space and landscape restoration initiative at the Old City in Patna. The riverfront urban initiative proposes a comprehensive urban design approach to develop the Ganga riverfront as an exclusive public space to reorient the city towards the river, addressing environmental awareness and ecological restoration. Finally, the inferences and summary in one shot. If we see the waterfront development, urban architecture, urban design and architecture are interrelated aspects. Sustainable strategies addressing to coastal rejuvenation, revitalization and redevelopment. Integrated different coastal ecosystem under CRZ management zone. Land use planning for coastal regions, environmental improvement, social upliftment and urban rejuvenation. Recreation and reviving water edges and waterfront. Now the outline of the study area with respect to its regional location, the area it covers, demography in terms of 7 different zone it holds, and the detail of Urban Development Authority SUDA it holds, and various town planning scheme. Now moving towards the methodology, this is the basic flowchart of demonstrating the methodology wherein we have seen so far till the outline of the study area and the framework pertaining to data collection, outline, analysis, inferences, derived and major inferences is yet to discuss. This initiative with the perceptional feasibility primary survey and the site investigation analyzing the result of the present land parcels selected for development. Town planning department has been approached to have a detailed insight of different draft town planning schemes wherein various data related to land parcels in the study area were studied. Detailed study of coastal regulation zone notification, implementation and application of the same all over the coastline of India. Delineation of the site area including the plots on the edge and coastal belt, road network, accessibility and governing factors. And finally, ecological zoning units and various strategies governing the coastal belt has been proposed. Now is the data collection for the study area and related attributes and its analysis. This initiated with the perceptual feasibility primary survey, which was carried out by the survey firm, and the data was collected for the target population in southwest zone of the Surat to know their basic perception and experience about the coastal zone. For determining the sample size, the Taro-Yamane statistical formula was used and a sample size for a finite population was derived. The survey result conveyed that majority of the people are interested in leisure activities. Along with their keen interest, orientation for green areas, majority of them intend to prefer Dumas Beach as their preferred outing destinations. Observed results says that they aren't much satisfied with the existing infrastructure in terms of recreation, basic amenities and hospitality. The areas tend to be quite underdeveloped to serve the purpose of domestic tourism. Now the study area profile. Study area is located in the western part of the Surat, which is connected to Arabian Sea. The map shows the proposed land use in Envision Development Plan 2035 by Surat Urban Development Authority for a designated coastal region of Surat, the area which falls under the jurisdiction of Surat Municipal Corporations. Villages merged in town and outgrowth as per census 2011 are Magdalla, Gavier, Vanta, Dummas, Sultanabad and Bimpur are part of my demonstration site. 9 draft town planning schemes are part of my demonstration site, having approximately 10 kilometers of coastal belt and 5 kilometers of Tapi riverfront as the focus of development. So the total coastal area proposed, selected is 2049.8 hectares, and these are the slide shows the reservations in the 9 draft town planning scheme. Now, this pertains to objective number 1, that is to understand land use management, mechanism, planning, rules and regulation. Attributes and status of plot designated in designated draft town planning schemes in terms of a total area, ownership, whether government, private, open plot area, final plot area boundary, and its area after deduction, and define land use in Development Plan 2035 has been shown on the following slides. This is Now, the summary and land breakups. The total area of land on 10 kilometers coastline and 5 kilometers of river edge is 174 hectares, which includes industrial, private, and government land. The below table shows the breakup in terms of ownership and proposed land use. Now, the coastal regulation zone, which has been previously discussed in theoretical framework, stating that the regulation formulates the range of activities, but with some restrictions to be followed. That is, 500 meters from high tide line is no development zone, and in case of river or creek, it is 100 meters from high tide line is no development zone. From this map, the source of which is MOEFCC, it is quite evident that CRZ1 and 3 is applicable to my study area. So, as per the norm, my whole site would be no development zone. But as per the ministry, there are certain permissible activities in CRZ categories. That is, CRZ1, ecotourism activities such as mangrove work, tree huts, natural trails. CRZ1B, intertidal areas and foreshore activities like port, harbour, jetties, etc. And CRZ3, activities at CRZ1B shall also be permissible and CRZ3 as applicable. Finally, the inferences and findings which pertain to objective number 2 to identify the current status and related attributes and delineated site on coastline. With this, the delineation of the site on the river edge and coastline. The map on the left hand side is retrieved from GIS portal of Surat Municipal Corporation, which shows that the FP's final plots are on the river and the coastline edge is all under erosion. The map on the right hand side is made in GIS showing the gradient for most of the low-lying areas are 0 to 8 meters and ranges to maximum height of 13 meters in some areas. So this is the delineated site with proposed land use as per 2035. Accessibility to site area. Important landmarks such as Langar, the Darya Ganesh temple, the Dumas jetty and the high tension line passing from the site. The total proposed area for development is 207.6 hectares with 47% of government land, 33% of non-revenue land, 2% of private land and 18% of forest land. Some important spots and issues identified are the major landmark of Dumas, that is the Darya Ganesh temple, having several issues like unorganized unorganized parking space with concentrated activities and high tidal variations, the illegal stone bund wall, the non-revenue land used inappropriately with high tension line passing through, retaining wall around the Goras Gamtal, lack of parking facilities and boat parking facilities, the underutilized Dumas jetty, the unorganized parking space, untreated water disposal, mud feds, etc. Now talking about the legal dimensions, the development plan is proposed by the urban authority, but the implementation of the same by the virtue of GTPOD Act applies to competent authority under the jurisdiction of which the area falls. The demonstration falls under the jurisdiction of Surat Municipal Corporation. So the rules and the regulations applicable will be as per CGDCR 2017. The table below shows the permissible activities for land use in defined zone, wherein all the zone has ecotourism and recreational activities permissible except for the forest zone, which is subject to permission from competent authority, that is MOEF. So finally, the proposal part, which starts with the vision and mission, which says that the main objective of the outdoor coastal recreation and green infrastructure is to establish a healthy green edge to waterfront by increasing waterfront access and use with various diversifying options, which pertains to objective number 3, that is zoning clusters of domestic tourism, leisure and recreational spaces. Total area proposed for development in draft town planning scheme is 207.6 hectares, of which the government land is 67% and the non-revenue land considered for development is 33%. Ecosystem based 5 distinct zones has been proposed. CRZ1 eco-sensitive public zone, eco-sensitive forest zone, ecotourism recreational zone, CRZ3 yacht zone and heritage zone. The first and the foremost idea is to connect each of this distinct zone. Therefore, the blue-green belt connecting this distinct zone has been proposed, which has a retaining wall and a walkway. Since we have already seen in theoretical framework that urban design and architecture are interrelated aspects of waterfront planning and development, a belt connecting the entire waterfront edge will enhance the recreational aspect and will provide a platform for social interaction. Then is the eco-sensitive public zone, which contributes to 30% of the total development. These are the events and the spaces which are visualized for this zone, which mainly includes the major tourist attraction of the Dumas beach, which is the development of Darya Ganesh temple and the spaces around it, which should be developed with eco-sensitive public spaces like cycle tracks, bird hawking zone, event lawns, camping sites, barbecue pits, mangrove trails, tree grove, tent areas, and huts. Then is the eco-sensitive forest zone, which contributes to around 10% of the development. These are the events and the spaces been visualized for this particular zone, which includes the boat club, the viewing desk, various exhibits, flower shows, exhibitions, forest tourism, bird watching centers, the aquatic flora and fauna in and around the space. Then is the eco-sensitive recreational zone, which contributes to 26% of the total development. The places and events visualized for this particular zone are vibrant public spaces with pedestrian walkways, sport activities, bike and tram oriented streets, kids play area, amusement park, and family rafting. Then is the yacht zone, which contributes to 16% of the total development. And the areas visualized of this particular zone includes port, harbour, jetties, boat club, recreational plazas, waterfront activities, river rafting, etc. Then is the heritage zone, which contributes to 18% of the total development. And the areas visualized for this particular zone includes the built environment, which includes the civic center, history cell, information center, forest medicine center, interpretation center, etc. Finally, now the objective number 4, that the proposed strategies to meet the impact due to congestion, soil erosion, silting, and floods in and around the area. Various strategies for coastal rejuvenation, revitalization, and holistic development are proposed. The first is addressing ecological impacts on the waterfront. The site area of Surat is integrally tied to the larger district and to entire region containing various watersheds with rivers, streams, tributaries, etc. The pollution or mismanagement of this water and its impact on this waters in study area are affecting the surrounding ecosystem and even the environment. So the sewerage, water supply system, urban waste management in and around the spaces should be properly treated, and the strategies dealing with this should be proposed. Planning for waterfront to be accessible to all. Citizens' engagement, awareness, and discussions are very important to address the issues and to overcome the same. Instead of constructing decorative railings or walls, traditional design of long stretches of steps, boat, jetties, and ferry docks, etc., can be designed. This has the capacity to engage all section income levels of waterfront community. Waterfront sensitive urban design strategies can be identified for the actual plans and projects. This includes constructed wetlands, conservation of natural wetlands and marshes, bioretention systems, and bioswales. Suggestions and recommendations. This mainly includes education and public awareness campaigns, approaches to physical development of waterfronts, integrated sewage, waterfront and waste management, industrial compliance for the waterfront development, public engagement, and urban ecological restoration. The biggest limitations is which we have not mentioned is, despite of several efforts like elevating the ground level or building retaining wall, water makes its way through, but that should not hinder the process of development, since a lot of waterfront lands spaces has been developed all over India and around the globe. Finally, the conclusion and the way forward is that the proposed strategies and recommendation in the study does not attempt to enforce the final aesthetic expression, but an alternative which can give an indication of potential uses and can guide design development and help future designer, planners, and decision makers in identifying the issues of coastline, water bodies, and waterfront. This research will be useful for implementation of Development Plan 2035. This is the published research paper which I did during this course. Would like to thank a couple of people from authorities, professionals, and academicians who have helped me throughout the journey. Thank you.